Well, you three are in a really sort of nice, unique position. You know, a football fan can sit and talk about greatest teams they've ever watched, but you can talk about it from teams you've played in. From all the games and all the teams and all the trophies you've won, compare that Liverpool team to the teams that you played in. Where do they sit? What do you reckon?
I mean, listen, for me, you know, when I go back to the team that I played in, Man United team, I thought it was probably, we had a great team. We had great players. The generations have changed and football's changed, and you know, when I look at my midfield of Keane and Robson and Giggs and Kanchelskis, would they get in this team today? Yeah, of course they would. It goes without saying. So it's always hard to compare, you know, the teams that I've played in. Liverpool's only a great side if they keep winning trophies after trophies. That's how you judge a great side. You don't judge a great side just on winning the title this year. And Klopp knows that, you know. Mate, not have done it over years and years and years. Chelsea had a little spell of it. You know, Liverpool did it in the 80s. So to call them a great side, no. I think what they're doing is great and it could be a great achievement to win it. To do a great side, you have to do it year after year after year for me.
Yeah, they have to dominate, don't they? I think they're on the right road. They've won the Champions League. It's the first title in 30 years, this one. And if they can go on and dominate for a few years, then you can talk about them being a great side. But they're well on their way. And to answer that question about the team that I played in, I played with some top players. But I say this team is probably better, but some of the individuals we had in that team, if you think about the midfield of Gerrard, Alonso, Mascherano, I mean, the Liverpool fans sang at the time it was the best midfield in the world because it was. And I think those players would get in this side, but I just think the ethos, the atmosphere, the intensity that this Liverpool team's playing at as a collective team, this is the best that I've seen for a long time.
No, listen, it's such a tough question to answer because so much changes in football in a year. You know, you look back tactically, these lads, we're analysing a different game to what we played. And even, you know, from 10 years ago, it's come on, the pitches are different, the training methods are different, the tactics are different. It's a different breed of player, a different breed of human being. So it's hard to compare between eras. Crouchy's right and Ince's right. The great players you played with would have been great players in this era and they probably would be playing for a Liverpool side. But you've got to show massive respect for these Liverpool players and the management because they're one of the most exciting teams I've played. I've seen in the Premier League for many years because of what they're so explosive. They've got so much ability. You know, they're a joy to watch, and it's so hard to judge between eras. But I think the boys are right when he's saying it needs to be consistent. If they do this, if 3 or 4 years down the line they're still
says, is this Liverpool team better than the City Centurions and the Arsenal Invincibles? It's a good question, isn't it? See, I wonder whether the sort of the best Chelsea team that you played in, who would win if they played this Liverpool team?
Yeah, but what are we going to play them with VAR? Or are we going to play?
Oh no!
No, but like, are we going to play with
He's going to start with the ghost goal and everything.
No, because you know the referees. I could pull out a game from 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I played in when tackles were like there'd be straight reds today, like 9-game bans taken straight to the police because it's just. Nowadays, it's a different game.
Taken straight
like, some of the tackles that were allowed, so the game was different and it bred a different type of
quality, in terms of quality and ability.
Even quality and abilities, centre-halves asked different things 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Comparing between eras is so tough. It's so tough because you don't want to disrespect. I mean, now I'm an ex-player, I'm an old player. You don't want to disrespect players who've even come before me and say that this team will beat them. And likewise, I don't want to say... It's a different playing field now.
That Chelsea team you were part of with Duff, Robben, Drogba, Lampard, Ballack, that was a top side.
World-class players on that side.
Yeah,
world-class players.
But I can't sit here and say we would beat this Liverpool side. And likewise, you know, do you take them back in time and play in them circumstances with that set of rules? It's a great question, and fans will be talking about it in the pubs forever, won't they?
Yeah, I think you're right. That Chelsea side you had was unbelievable. You had a lot of world-class players in that. You know, and listen, it has changed. I don't think the dynamics have changed. It's still the same type of pitch. I don't think tactics have changed. Still play the same thing. But Jake said the most important thing: quality of players. So you kind of think of would Ballack get in that midfield? Would Frank and Lampard?
Would Ince get in that midfield?
Oh, yeah, all day long.
I knew that. That was the only answer.
In the warm-up.
It's just for Joey in front of me.
Yeah. In the warm-up, he leaned over and said, we could still do a bit in this.
I'll be a plan B in all of them.
In your peak, do you think you would get in this Liverpool team, each of you in your peak?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, in all seriousness, yeah?
Yeah, of course I do, yeah, without a doubt, yeah, for sure.
Joe?
I don't know.
It's not being big-headed, I think I would.
I think you would. You would.
I don't know.
I'd be in the Origi role. Last 10, 15.
What about the first game we did with you when we were with Stuart Webber at Norwich, and he live on air went, "We'd sign you, Joe. We wouldn't sign you, Peter."
I was lovely that.
He'd come off the bench and make a difference.
Well, of course, I'd like to think, I wasn't bad in my day, to be quite honest, but I wouldn't get in this team.
You don't think so?
No, not with Mane, Salah, Firmino, no chance. But listen, I'd play a part. I'd love to play a part.
Mane, Salah, Crouch. It sounds good, man.
Sounds good. Yeah.
If you change the question, I'd give it all to play in this team like now. If you said to me I could start all over my career again and be a 17-year-old like one of them lads on the bench and playing and looking and thinking you're going to have 10 years playing with Salah, Firmino, all these great players. It's such an exciting time.
Just playing under Klopp would be great, wouldn't it? Klopp's so passionate. And
imagine the amount of players queuing up to come and sign for Liverpool in the summer because you've got Jurgen Klopp, the fans, the players, the setup, and now they're winning trophies. They're going to have to pick of who they want.
Yeah. Big contrast, obviously, to Man United the other day. They're looking to fill holes and they need big signings. Any top player in the world is going to look at this, look at the atmospheres, look at the Champions Leagues, look at them winning the Premier League and want to come to Liverpool.
We've had a question actually from Daniel saying, can Liverpool win the treble this season? When you have a look at the records they're breaking, not just the fact that they're top of the league, but the way that they're top of the league, I mean, you wonder whether actually they can win the Premier League, the Champions League and the FA Cup.
I can't
name a better team in those three competitions.
I don't think it is, but I kind of think with the Champions League, it can be like one-off games. You know what I mean? You can see today. I know, the Premier League's so completely different to the Championship and knockout football. Today, Wolves were the better side. Wolves had chances to actually win the game. If you do that against Real Madrid in the semi-finals, finals, you're out of it. So it's a big ask for them. I think their main focus and their main concentration has to be on the Premier League. It's been a posing challenge for God knows how long. So this is what they're gunning to. This is what they're focusing on. Anything that comes on the side of that, then great. But it's going to be a tough ask, I think.
The Champions League and the Premier League are the focus. There's no denying that. The thing is, the FA Cup, they can just blood some youngsters. They keep players that aren't playing week in, week out happy by playing games.
And you know what? That's so sad because we spoke before, right, about how big the FA Cup was to us. You know what I mean? How growing up it was about. And now we're just saying, well, they can blood kids into it because it kind of takes a sit back.
Exactly right. It is a mad turnaround.
I love getting in your comments and questions. Thank you to Ash. He says that this Liverpool team have an unmatched mentality. Mitch says, are Liverpool going to win the league undefeated? Dave asks us, who do you think is the most important player? And are there many players Liverpool can bring in to improve the team? Lots of people saying, is Jordan Henderson playing the best football of his career? And Dave says, tell Crouchy I love him. That is the biggest contribution of the night so far on social media. Right, goals after the break from Tranmere against Watford in the FA Cup. And then we're going to run through with the three guys the major talking points